"You're terminated, effective immediately." The words hit her harder than any slap. Claire Monroe stood frozen in the middle of the hospital corridor, her scrubs soaked in blood. Not her own, but from the man she'd just saved. Around her, nurses whispered, glancing away. No one stepped forward. No one defended her. The administrator's voice cut again like ice. "You violated military protocol. This isn't a battlefield. It's a hospital." But Claire didn't care about policies, not when a Navy SEAL was bleeding out 5 feet from her. Not when everyone else stood back and did nothing. Earlier that night, chaos erupted through the ER doors as a black SUV skidded to a stop. 4 uniformed men jumped out, carrying a critically wounded soldier. There were no charts, no orders. Just a blood-soaked uniform and a barely breathing man gripping his dog tags. Doctors hesitated. They mumbled about classified injuries and waiting for military clearance. But Claire didn't wait. She rushed to his side, called out vitals, and began resuscitation before anyone could stop her. "He's dying," she snapped, "and I'm not letting him die on my watch." Her hands moved with precision, heart pounding, sweat pouring from her brow. She ignored the alarms, ignored the fear. And when the defibrillator jolted his body back to life, she finally exhaled. He was stable, alive, breathing, but barely. 20 minutes later, her life came crashing down. "You had no authority," the administrator growled. "You just involved this hospital in something it was never meant to be part of." "I saved him," she said through clenched teeth. "And now you're paying the price," he fired back. They escorted her out like a criminal. No thank you, no handshake, just silence and disgrace. That night, she sat in her tiny apartment, staring blankly at the blood still crusted on her sleeves. The news hadn't picked up the story. No one outside those sterile walls knew what she'd done. She didn't want praise, but she didn't deserve shame. Then came the knock, 3 short taps, 1 long. She opened the door slowly, and there he stood. The same SEAL, cleaned up, uniform pressed, bruises fading but his eyes fierce, in his hands a folded American flag. Her breath caught. She couldn't speak. He did. "You saved me. Everyone else walked away. But you didn't." She swallowed hard. "They fired me." He looked at her gently. "Then they don't deserve you." He held out the flag. "This was meant for my mother, for my funeral. But because of you, I'm here to give it to someone who actually saved a soldier." Tears welled in her eyes, but he wasn't finished. Behind him stood 4 more Navy SEALs in dress blues. One stepped forward and handed her a sealed envelope. Inside was a letter with a Pentagon seal. "Nurse Claire Monroe acted in accordance with emergency battlefield medical protocol under executive directive. Her decision directly saved the life of Lieutenant Mason Reeds, United States Navy SEAL. Any disciplinary action against her is unjustified and should be reversed immediately." The signature at the bottom read, "Rear Admiral Jonathan Keene." The next morning, Claire walked into the hospital, flag folded tightly in her arms, letter in hand. The same administrator who fired her turned pale the moment she stepped through the door. He stuttered, trying to backpedal, trying to explain. But she wasn't there for apologies. She handed him the letter without a word. The color drained from his face as he read it. "You're cleared. You're reinstated." She looked him dead in the eye. "I'm not coming back." And she didn't. Within 24 hours, her story was everywhere. Someone from the hospital had leaked the footage. Claire walking out that night in bloody scrubs, eyes red but chin held high. The caption read, "Fired for saving a Navy SEAL." The internet exploded. Veterans shared it. Nurses rallied behind her. Millions watched in disbelief. By sundown, she had over 500,000 followers, news outlets begging for interviews, and thousands of strangers sending support. But that wasn't the biggest call she got. The Secretary of Veterans Affairs himself contacted her, asking her to help build a national program that would train civilian trauma teams on how to respond to special operations emergencies. Claire accepted. She was no longer just a nurse. She was a protector of those who protect everyone else. The hospital begged her to return, offered her bonuses, a promotion. She declined, because she'd already moved on, to something bigger, something that mattered. And Lieutenant Reeds, he never forgot her. In fact, he made sure every soldier in his unit knew her name, knew that sometimes the bravest people don't wear uniforms, they wear scrubs with trembling hands and lion hearts. So, doing what's right doesn't always get you rewarded. Sometimes it gets you punished first. But courage isn't about following rules, it's about saving lives when no one else will. Before we wrap up this story, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from. Don't just scroll, we're reading every single one. If this story touched you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know how you feel in the comments.